Time now for Sid 6-0. This is where you have 60 seconds to talk. Start the clock, please. Here's what's on my mind this morning. What makes a great team great? It's that drive inside all of them. And it's unique. Not every team has it. But that's what led Tampa Bay to a pair of Stanley Cups. That's what led the Lightning to 3 straight Stanley Cup Finals appearances. And that drive, that will to win, was on full display immediately after the Colorado Avalanche beat them on Sunday night. If you were to look at the Lightning at this exact moment, you would guess that this was a team who had not won 2 straight Stanley Cups. Devastated. They were on the verge of physical collapse. They looked like a team that had blown their only chance at winning. On some level, I mean, in all honesty, it was a little strange, considering all the winning they've done. But after a few seconds, you understood. That's what makes them different. They usually want it more than the other team, except for this year. And I guarantee you, they will never forget it. Never forget it. Donnovan, Bennett of Sportsnet here on Breakfast Television. Donnovan, in hindsight, I just want to give Tampa Bay their flowers here. Like, this is, they're one of my favorite losing teams in the history of hockey. What was your take?
I thought it was a great observation by you, something that I don't take any pleasure in saying. And it reminds me a little bit of how the Warriors looked at home in Oracle after the Raptors beat them. And we thought that dynasty was over. And we obviously learned that it wasn't. Listen, remember, this was a very close 6-game series. They lost 2 games in overtime, 1 on a bad call. Not to say they would have won, but it still stings when you lose that way. And I think this is a team that was mentally and physically exhausted. 4 shots in that third period because the NHL playoff situation is a bit of a joke. They had a much harder, in my opinion, path to get there than the Colorado Avalanche, who were 16-4 running through. Tampa Bay had a very tough first-round opponent, the Toronto Maple Leafs. So this is a team that's been through it. Remember, they lost to the Blackhawks in the finals in 2015. For many of these players in this organization, it's been a long run. So we'll see what Colorado does, if they can sustain the success in the same way. The hard cap is coming from them after they've won. And these teams are really serious, similar, high-flying teams that had to learn to defend in order to win. And Colorado, I think, is following the blueprint of Tampa, but I think you're bang on. They're not going away anytime soon. They really put the chips all in the middle of the table the last 2 deadlines to make sure that they could extend this window. There's a reason why it's been 40 years since we've seen a three-peat, because it's really, really hard. And it's increasingly hard in the cap era. So for me, no disrespect to what the Chicago Blackhawks did or the Pittsburgh Penguins did or the Kings did, this run that we are seeing, and I think we're going to still see it from Tampa, is the most impressive thing I think we've seen in the cap era, because how bad everyone top down in the organization, you mentioned it, wants it.
This is one of the greatest teams I've ever seen. I count 5 to 6 Hall of Famers like that. We can have a debate about a few others. In terms of the cap, Donnovan, before we let you go, Andre Palat's the only guy they need to find some money for. He's a big-time playoff player, as we know. But there's no reason, as Steven Stamkos said after the game Sunday night, why can't we do it again? I think they can do it again. And if you're a Leaf fan, you got to get a lot better than where you're at to compete with that. They sacrifice, other teams don't. Donnovan, you're great. Appreciate you. Thanks, man.